Okay, welcome back to the final hour of the Artie Lange Show. I want to thank Howard Eskin for sticking around through a few commercial breaks. So just continuing that, Howard, so based on what you just said, your vote would be Terrell Owens probably fan-wise or media-wise.
Here's the thing, that it's really, hate is not the right word. At the time that this all happened, they was great during the season. Then it was terrible. I don't know how John viewed it in the locker room. It was terrible afterwards because of how disruptive he became for the football team, and it created a real problem the next year. But I wouldn't call it hate. It was dislike. Now they love him because, if T.O. was here. But I'd have to put a guy above that. And he wasn't here, did not play 1 second of one game, and was here for a whole year. And true hate, Andrew Bynum. That guy was not only a stiff.
Wow.
He was lazy. He was a creep. He was, he was everything that's wrong with a guy that he should have been taken out of the arena in handcuffs every night for stealing money. I mean, it was a joke.
I forgot about him. Yeah.
And he ruined this franchise. They can, they're trying to lose games now, and I get it. They gave up 3 number 1 picks that are playing, 2 more number 1 picks that the teams haven't taken yet, and he, by himself, now that was their stupidity to get a guy, his high school athletic director ripped him. So what he did to this team and this franchise by cheating, he cheated everybody. So I would put him a little above T.O. because now we love T.O. because he's gone. We'll never love Andrew Bynum.
It's a good choice.
Ever.
What year was that, Bynum? What year are we talking about?
That was last year.
Just last year,
to show you how bad the NBA is, somebody still gave him a job.
Yeah, I know, the NBA.
He's been to 2 or 3 teams. He's still stealing money.
For big money.
I don't know how he doesn't have a life sentence. It's a joke.
And you're right. It's for big money. You talk about the economy. It makes you sick. John said you actually like T.O., so he agrees with you, Howard. You like T.O., right?
I did the first year. And then what I did, I saw he was so disruptive. I did like him. Hey, this guy brought an energy. He brought something that we hadn't seen in this town. He had a personality. It was a different kind of personality. But then when he started crying on TV with that dope Donnie Deutsch about not getting enough money, he's trying to feed his family and trying to get a new contract, that's when I had it. And then when you see him crying over Tony Romo, he hasn't won a playoff game.
Oh, yeah, right.
I'm crying about your quarterback. But I did like him that 1 year.
I was only there. I was only there for that 1 year with him.
Yeah.
But
and then I got cut.
His agent was hated, though. Drew Rosenhaus, right? I mean, right? Howard by the media, especially. His agent was hated more, probably.
Well, he changed agents. The guy he had the first year was something Joseph. I forget what his name was. I only had him for 1 year, and then T.O. blew him up. And then here comes Drew Rosenhaus.
Yeah. Eagles fans. You hated that
guy of dislike for people. Drew's kind of changed his way because he's lost some clients, but he's different. I don't know if it'll ever be totally different. But when he came in and he created this problem, it just was one thing on top of another. But that 1 year, it was so exciting. It was unbelievable. And then he and Donovan they don't like each other. Donovan, it's too bad. Donovan's not a bad guy, but he was too insecure. For as good as he was as a player, I thought he was just too insecure, and he let T.O. get to him a little bit too much, and that was a problem too. But he created a problem in the locker room. But that 1 year, I'm telling you, it was so exciting, and John knows it. Everybody in town knew it. He just created something here that we hadn't had for a while.
Right. I think that's a great point you make with Donovan. He was being asked to do so much in Andy Reid's offense. He was shouldering such responsibility as far as the number of times a game he was asked to throw that thing around. And that was my biggest objection the whole time I was there. Why don't we just run the ball? Why don't we run? The only time we ran the ball is when the game was put away and we were salting it away in the fourth quarter, and those rushes would skew the stats and make it look like we actually ran it more than we did.
And a lot of teams do that. It's not even a unique thing. You know?
Well, Andy, I just felt like Andy Reid at that point in time loved putting the ball up, and Donovan did not always feel comfortable having to do all that heavy lifting.
That's a good point. At the end of the day, how do you feel about Andy Reid's legacy in town? Was he an over or an underachiever?
As John knows, I think he's a really good coach.
Right.
And, nobody complained when he got this bad football team into the playoffs his second year in Philadelphia. And then they went to, 5 NFC conference championship games.
They were always there. They were always there. Yeah.
They were always there. He was really a good coach. And, John, here's why I think that he threw the ball as much as he did. When you look at what the NFL became with the changing of the rules, not allowing a defensive guy to even breathe on a wide receiver, the good teams would score by throwing the ball 60-some% of the time in the first half. When you had a lead, that's when you ran it, and it kind of made the numbers look even. I mean, San Francisco, for all those years, they have 2 1,000-yard rushers, and they won 5 Super Bowls because they ran the ball after they always had the lead. So that's what he tried to do. He believed that you had to throw the ball because in the NFL he believed that you had to score points. Right. Now with Donovan, and John, you know this, and I am so angry at myself that I didn't know this, that Donovan couldn't remember a lot of times 2 plays. If you gave him 2 plays, and I couldn't figure out, I always thought it was just, circumstance, that he wasn't good in 2-minute drives. Well, he wasn't good because he couldn't remember 2 plays at a time, and it's not because he's not a smart guy, but he was too proud to wear the wristband with the plays on it, and that was a problem. Yeah. And I had found out this later that sometimes in the huddle, he couldn't spit out the verbiage for the play. He knew it. So the players occasionally would say, no, this is, and then they'd roll out the play in the huddle. But in that Super Bowl, whenever they says, why is he taking so long? Why are they taking so long, Andy Reid? Well, Donovan couldn't remember 2 plays in a row when you gave him 2 plays, so you had to give him the play going up to the line the second time. But that's not to take away from what Donovan McNabb did. Well, he was the best quarterback, I think, in Eagles history, and I've lived here most of my life. But there were different things about different people. But you may have a point that Andy Reid put too much responsibility on Donovan McNabb, but he did make him, without Andy Reid, I don't know that Donovan would have been as good a quarterback as he was.
Never. Andy, for all that he put on Donovan's shoulders, he set him up to succeed. He catered that offense to Donovan's strengths and weaknesses. And that's where we went. When I first got there, I was shocked at the fact that there were a lot of plays we only ran one way. We couldn't flip plays. And I'd never seen that in my entire career, going back to high school.
But it sounds like both of you were saying that that whole situation is more of a credit to Andy Reid than it is a discredit to Donovan McNabb.
Well, I never was in the huddle when he, couldn't get anything out. But that may very well be the case. I know that when you saw him in Washington and Shanahan ended up benching him during a 2-minute situation for, quote, conditioning purposes, or, maybe didn't know the 2-minute offense as well as he should. When a quarterback is that advanced in his career, you would think that he would know that stuff or be able to, run that 2-minute drill flawlessly. I thought that was a little suspect, and it made me wonder,
John,
what exactly is going on.
That is what alerted me that where the problem was, because what he said was, I went to Rex Grossman because he could run our 2-minute offense better, and and the key thing he said, we had no timeouts. When he said we had no timeouts, I started to think, then you really had to remember. You had to remember a couple of plays at a time. So that's when I went back to people at the Eagles. I said, what the heck was going on here? And then that's when I was told that a lot of times he couldn't remember 2 plays at a time. And that alerted me when Shanahan did that. That kind of alerted me to the situation. But it shouldn't take away from what Donovan did here, but it should also tell people, and the people in this town, Artie and John, I don't know if John knows it now, they kill Andy Reid. They kill him.
Do they really?
Wow.
Okay.
You got to be kidding me.
It's a joke. It's a joke because he wasn't great at news conferences. He didn't share things.
Yeah.
I would say to Andy, just give up something. You don't have to name a player. Just name the offensive line or say this area didn't do that. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
But when you say kill him, do you mean
give him something? And the people in this town were mad that he wasn't that he wasn't Artie Lange at a news conference. I'll give you a little credit there, pal.
I can't
thank
believe
you. But listen, he was the same weight. But people, when you say mad at him, you mean people or the media or both?
No, well, the media, they've given up. It's not the media's job to get mad at him. Although some of the people didn't love him, but it was the fans that just didn't.
The fans.
He'd have his weekly news conferences, whether it was on Mondays or whether it was after the game, and he wouldn't give up anything.
Right,
and
right.
that's when they didn't like him. Chip Kelly, I have a laugh a minute with Chip Kelly because he'll bury a writer. He'll bury a media person. They ask a stupid question, and he'll just lay them right out. But he's funny. And he doesn't like news conferences, Chip Kelly. It's amazing. He doesn't like them. He didn't like him in Oregon, but he doesn't. And I think he's really good at it because he knows how to handle it. If I can, I can give you a quick example. Some guy, Pat Shurmur, is the offensive coordinator here with the Eagles. He was here before, head coach of Cleveland. So some dope, the dope of a reporter, says to Chip, did you bring Pat Shurmur in here to help you with your vertical offense? That was it. Chip just said, did you watch us at Oregon? Well, not really. He said, well, last year, our quarterback had 31 touchdowns with 5 interceptions. The year before, we had 33 touchdowns with 6 interceptions, and I could have gone bombs away in the second half, but I took my foot off the pedal. And he said, now do you know what we did at Oregon? And he just shut him down. Bang.
See, he could do it in a clever way. It's like the opposite of that, where you don't let a reporter get away with. Tommy Lasorda would do it in an angry way, not even clever, just start screaming at the guy, but just as entertaining. Howard, you remember I'm sorry, real quick. You remember that press conference where Kingman beat the Dodgers by hitting 3 home runs?
I still have the tape.
Yeah, the guy said to Lasorda, what'd you think of Kingman's performance? He's like,
home runs. What are you?
He hit 3 effing homers. What do I think of his performance? Yeah, I agree with you, Howard. They're more entertaining like that. But.
He was entertaining. Dallas Green, who we had here in Philadelphia, he had, and I still have the tape of that too. It's in my old radio days. I would save these little cassettes. Dallas Green, it was during a split season in 81. If you won the first half, you're already in the playoffs.
Right.
He was playing horribly. So the first thing, and he wanted the whole, I just talked to him about it last week. I was in spring training. He wanted the whole locker room to hear him go off.
Yeah.
So he started with, he had 47 and a half leaps in 2 minutes and 47 seconds. He had 47 and a half bleeps. He says, I want to bleep and stop to all the bleeping bull crap about how bleeping awful this bleeping
That's great.
season is.
That is great.
I just want to put my 2 cents in on Andy. From my experience there, Andy and Donovan, those guys, Andy, even if he has a bad rap or whatever in Philly right now, every player who ever played under him respects him more than any other coach because he never sold anyone out.
That's what I
never
thought.
talked behind your back.
So the players like him.
He was such an honorable guy in that regard.
Right.
Very steadfast. Who cares if he didn't say anything in the press conferences? He wasn't ever going to cut you down in the media. He was a
player's coach more than media or the fans.
Yeah. And Donovan, we all looked at him as a great guy, and he was a winner. And all those little things, I don't know about the 2 plays stuff, but man, he was a good quarterback.
But in the end, he had numbers. He did some good things. Without him, they wouldn't have been where they are. And when you look at that draft he came out of, the first guy was a stiff. That was Tim Couch. The third guy was Achilles Smith. He was a stiff.
Right.
There were 7 quarterbacks in that draft, and Donovan was the only quarterback that actually became a really good player and an all-pro out of that draft.
And
and I agree with you.
And a lot of that's Andy. A lot of that is Andy Reid.
Go ahead. We gotta wrap up real quick though, just to sum up what we originally got you for, Howard. And great job, by the way. A year from now, you see Allen Iverson. You run into him. Do you have a pleasant conversation with him? Are you guys on good terms?
I'm telling you, Artie, I'm shocked. He saw me before. Every time he sees me now, he starts laughing. He says, "There's Howard Eskin." And we actually have fun when we look back. I said one thing to him. I said, when they pull your banner up to the rafters, I bet you want me hanging from that banner, don't you?
Well,
yeah, we're great now. We're great.
That makes
I want
me
to go fishing with them.
Yeah, that would be great. To take a camera. Take a camera to that. That would be amazing. Listen, Howard, we appreciate you coming on. You're always funny, always great, and I'll talk to you soon, brother.
Hey, it's a pleasure. And, John, it's a pleasure catching up with you again.
Yeah,
Artie,
great.
it's always a pleasure being with you.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
Howard.
See you later.
See ya.
Howard Eskin, the great Howard Eskin from Philly.
The Artie Lange Show, weeknights on Audience, only on DirecTV.